My cousin has this old jet boat without a motor, and Dave has the muscle truck, which has an LS6 in it. We're gonna drag this to the lake, we're gonna rip the motor out of the truck, put it in the boat, go do some racing, take the motor back out of the boat, put it in the truck, drive all the way back home. It will be just that easy.
1974 special.
You almost called it, it's a 76.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a Jeep.
Pretty much.
Oh, I like this too.
The genius of this plan here is, yes, pretty fast, pretty fast and together. Neither one of these have motor plates for an LS engine.
Is this ready?
It has motor plates for an LS. But
That's as far as you'll go?
But it is built with some hokey stuff, like the fuel system, plumbed with Teflon line, real good. Water system, rubber hose that would hook up your washer and dryer.
It's just water.
In the 60s and 70s, there were about 40 manufacturers producing like 100 different models of jet boats.
And they all look like this?
Well, there's only 4 that run worth a damn. This is one of them.
Oh, okay.
It's old and fairly hacked up, and so, you know, it's not worth a ton of money, but you stick a halfway decent motor in it, and at the very least, it gets you and your beer to where you want to go. This is one of the few boats that you can go really fast in, and if the motor blows up, you don't get spit out of the boat.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
It's only raining a little bit. I hope it gets much worse before we're done. This just stopped working.
So that oil on the floor of the truck came from the jack.
Exactly. Yeah! That moment, we just won. Whoa, it just chipped a big piece off the main rail.
Because it's sitting on the main rail, because it can't come my way because of the starter.
Okay.
We can grab a Sharpie, we need to mark it, we need to grind the aluminum part of it. A little more. There we go.
We have a couple problems going on here now. This adapter was built to be able to connect the drive shaft for the boat to the back of the crankshaft. But the problem here is that the drive shaft is completely bottomed in the jetaway, which isn't good, and our adapter won't fit in there. It's as if the crank flange has a different offset in it than it did on the engine that they mocked it up with. So we have to move the engine forward in order to get enough slip travel in the drive shaft in order to fit this in. But after that, we still need to be able to get a longer bolt. And the thing that we have discovered is this is a special thread designed by GM that does not match anything we're going to be able to get at a hardware store anywhere. Right?
That about sums it up. We're screwed. I think there's a certain level of...
All right!
And the generator's out of gas.
Can I go to sleep now?
No. I said we'd be done by noon. It's 11:20, giving us plenty of time to start the boat, find out that everything leaks, and work on it for another half an hour before we go on the water.
Yes! Instead of racing, we just decided to cruise around the lake and check out this boat that hadn't been on the water in 10 years. And you know what? It was good. We had a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, it was probably the best 2 hours of boating ever. Hard-earned.
We're out of gas.
You're kidding!
Nope.
We ran out of gas. It's all right. I feel good. Maybe eventually we'll get to the outhouse. Yeah, that happened.
They don't get the best fuel economy.
So, paddle?
Didn't bring a paddle. We have no life vest, no paddle, no rope. Even if they could tow us,
Well, you know what that means.
we've got nothing.
We need to catch on fire, because we're prepared for that.
Just sink this bitch and get it over with. Hit it.
Key on. Here we go.
Yeah. This is fully illegal. Refueling on the
Yeah.
water. This is the water tank. I'm filling it up for ballast. We're gonna go wakeboarding soon.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again, I promise.
You knew that was coming. Cool.
Ah, the Renegade.
So what engine is this?
So this is a Chevrolet Performance CT 525, which is
Oh, circle track.
so it's 376 cubic inches,
Yep.
525 horsepower. I think it makes about 550, 570 right now.
Yeah.
Probably not fast enough for what we want to do this week.
The muscle truck made it with boat attached. We're here at the Arizona Drag Boat Association event, their spring event at Hidden Lake, which is around Buckeye, Arizona, which is around Phoenix, which is around 90-something degrees.
So all day long today, we're going to be wrenching while boats are going by really fast. It's a lot like car racing, but way crazier. All these people here are nutty enough to basically bolt high horsepower to a surfboard. They're gonna hold onto a rope. That guy in the middle is gonna ask them if they're ready, and when they're ready, they'll give thumbs up, they'll start their motors. There's an amber bulb 125 feet in front of them that's gonna flash for 30 seconds. You're warming your motor up then, right? Then it goes solid and a clock counts down from 20, and essentially, while holding onto a rope with no brakes and adjusting for the wind and whatever else is going on, you pick a number and leave and get a running start at the beams that are about 125 feet in front of you, and you try to cross exactly when the clock goes 0.
So basically it's like asphalt roll racing, except for the track is moving around underneath you.
Yes.
I don't think you guys yet realize how much work we have ahead of us in order to put twin turbos on the LS motor in the boat and convert it to EFI at the same time and make all of that junk work. I would just want to see a pair go down, and then we can go wrench.
Okay.
My beloved tunnel ram, gone.
We're just gonna swap it for an even cooler tunnel ram. We're gonna make big horsepower here. We are going to swap our current Holley High Ram tunnel ram for this Holley High Ram, which has a shearer fab intercooler sandwiched between the top and the bottom half. They're good for like 1,800 horsepower. They will control your air inlet temp with water. And because we're going boating, we have an abundance of lake water to feed to this intercooler. It also has fuel rails and injectors. Basically, this setup is for EFI. In true Roadkill fashion, we have a pair of truck stock exhaust manifolds, which we're going to flip upside down and point backwards. And then we have this very sloppily fabricated but totally effective T3 flange going to a GT35 turbo here, and then a whole lot of hose clamps and silicone connectors to somehow plumb all of this together and shove 10 pounds of boost right down the throat of our LS3. We've not ever installed this stuff in this boat, so things like throttle linkage and plumbing probably gonna be an issue and probably stop us from making any passes here today. But tomorrow, game on.
And right there, kaboom. And yes, we just installed that backwards. It's because the turbos are gonna go here, I assume?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
all right, I'm bolting it down. Okay, these are stock exhaust manifolds flipped upside down. Very standard technique for LS turbo stuff, except for they're backwards, putting the turbo in the back, unlike what you would do on a car.
Right now we're shifting gears. We're missing the gaskets and a couple of bolts to mount our turbos, so we decided to plumb the fuel system. We're abandoning the fuel cells that are in the sides of the boat and going right to a Jazz 5-gallon fuel cell mounted here with a Holley drop-in EFI fuel pump. This will support up to 1,300 horsepower. Basically drag racing in one little thing right here. We don't have gaskets, so we're just gonna use the copper here and cross our fingers. I'm thinking this goes this way.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's put both of them on, and before we lock them down, we'll put this in the middle, and then...
Okay. See these connectors that go onto the injectors? So there's 8 of them. Well, normally they've got that little bail on them that connects to the little ear, and you press on them to get them out. Well, the problem is that bail is fully in place, and I stick it on there, and pop, it just comes right off. And so what I'm doing so it doesn't pop off on Mike in the middle of a race is zip tie magic. I've got one around the base of the injector. I've got another one up here around the connector, and a third holding those two together. And so, Bamarooney, you cannot get that to fall apart. Well, Finnegan might be able to, depending on how far he flies the boat. But in normal circumstances, that'll be just fine.
Looky, looky, 2 turbos, 1 intake. We are trucking right along. Try it. Okay, come on. It has fuel. Try it again. Okay.
We never set the TPS.
Nah, I did it when you weren't here.
Okay.
Go ahead and cycle it on and off.
Off.
Okay.
On.
Go ahead.
For about half an hour, we've been trying to start this thing, like cranking it, testing wires, getting out the laptop, getting on the phone, and it turns out we had one wire that feeds power to both the coils and the injectors that we hadn't hooked up. So I'm pretty confident that at this point, we're gonna flip the switch and stab that button, and this thing's gonna make noise. Here we go. Cycling the fuel pump, and there we go.
Okay.
Woohoo!
All right.
So now Mike's gonna go in the laptop and undo all the stuff that we screwed up while we were troubleshooting, taking like blind guesses. And I guess once that's fixed, it'll run.
Cycle the key and then start it.
Off, on, fuel pump, firing.
Man, I'm in a boat on a lake. I'm doing all right.
As a reminder, we're at Hidden Lake in Arizona. It's around Buckeye, Arizona, and it's very shallow. The thing that makes that good for drag boat racing is the more shallow the water, the less you get waves. It's not choppy, so it's nice and smooth for racing. Okay, there he is in the right-hand lane, the one closest to us.
All right, here we go. This is my first test and tune pass on Sunday. I'm gonna try to cut a good light here. Try to go further than, a couple hundred feet.
That did not run well.
Holy crap. Oh my God, I think it just kicked the rods out of this engine. There is oil everywhere.
I'm hearing over the radio that Finnegan said in his little mic that he thinks he kicked the rods out of it and there's oil everywhere.
Oh, we are done, dude. It is done, dude. It just kicked the rod right through the side of the pan. I've blown up a lot of Hemis, but I've never done that before.
I heard him just say it. He goes, it kicked a rod. Well, I guess the only hope he's got now is that one didn't go through the bottom of the boat and it's not going down. Did it kick a rod?
Rod's gone.
Seriously? Unreal. It actually blew up the motor. That is a first on Roadkill, to actually have parts completely outside the block.
We just got roadkill, Bob. That's roadkill.
Wow, the one time we don't do anything dirt cheap, and look what happens.
It's time for a confession. I have never killed an engine as bad as I did that little old LS3. And right about now, you're asking yourself one question. Why would they go to all that trouble just to kick the rods out of the starting line? It's easy, because we had to know if we could. We had to find out what happens when you drag a classic jet boat to a drag boat race and try to turbo it right there in the pits. And it wasn't all bad. We brought 2 of our favorite projects back from the dead. The muscle truck did not run, and now it's ready to tackle whatever ridiculous terrain is next. And thanks to us, Cousin Randy's jet boat ripped across Lake Elsinore for the first time in nearly 8 years. Sure, the LS has a hole inside of the block you could stick a watermelon through, But while it was running, you couldn't remove the grins from our faces with a bazooka. Do I know why the engine broke? Nope. Do I feel guilty that the Pistons tried to become astronauts? Yeah, a little bit, which is why when all was said and done, I bought the boat from Randy and drug its broken carcass back to Georgia with me. The little Renegade is like the Ratson, and I can see past the destruction and spot its true potential. I do see us hitting that 100-mile-an-hour mark someday, and when we do, you might see that feat on a future episode of Roadkill.